This story absolutely infuriated me when I first heard about it.
I just need to know how many total people are hit.
I think it's two people. Please hurry up.
That was the 911 call after two teenage girls, friends, were run down by a speeding driver in their neighborhood. And it turns out the guy behind the wheel, this kid, was someone they knew. This is Uncovered. I see this over and over. Families go to the local police and tell them that their kid is being harassed or stalked by another kid at school. And police essentially tell them, look, there's nothing we can do. These are juveniles, and this is kind of like just the way it is. And it appears that that's what has happened here in this case. Maria Niotis was 17 years old, Cranford, New Jersey. She had gone to police and her family telling them that this kid, a former classmate she knew, had been harassing her and stalking her. This had been going on for months. In fact, this kid had been caught sitting outside Maria's home in his car. So flash forward to September 2025, Maria and her bestie, Isabella Salas, they decide they want to go out and get some boba tea. So they leave Maria's house, they get on their e-bike, and they're going down Burnside Avenue in Cranford. Believe it or not, I used to live on Burnside Avenue in Cranford. I know this street. It was years ago. It's line to line houses, tons of kids, families. It's a long, long avenue. So here's Maria and her friend. They're on the e-bike, and this car going 70 miles an hour comes speeding out of nowhere, runs them over.
This SUV flew down the road and hit people. This woman is on the floor.
Does anybody still see the vehicle?
No. It was like a hit and run.
The teenage driver has been identified as the same kid who allegedly had been harassing Maria over these last few months. He's been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. I want to bring in Brent Bramnick. He's the attorney for Maria's family. Brent, first, I want you to tell everybody how Maria's mother, Fula, is doing.
The family wants everyone to know that they are so grateful for the community support. It's been incredible. In fact, not only just in the community and in New Jersey, but overseas.
Brent, I know in stories I've covered in the past, that support from other people means so much to families. I know you mentioned that this unwanted communication, as you call it, had been going on for months between Maria and this boy. But you also mentioned 2 swatting incidents. And if people don't know what swatting is, that's when someone calls in a fake emergency to try to get police to respond to a home. And Brent, you're saying that that happened in this situation.
So there's 2 swatting incidents. And this is really important because the first swatting incident, which happens, this is now in September, the police respond to a swatting incident at Fula. Now that's the mother of Maria, right? Her residence. The family doesn't even know the police were there. They only find out the next day through information received by Maria that the police were at their house on a swatting incident. So now they find this out. And obviously they're concerned. They go to the police and report what's going on. They're giving them information about this swatting incident that they now possess. And now we want to know what happened then, because not that long after, you're talking about it just a number of days after, the second swatting incident occurs. So now you have a second swatting incident. And this is, I would argue, even more significant questions here too as well, because they're at home. There's absolutely nothing going on in the house that would require any police presence. Nothing. Fool is upstairs. They're getting ready for bed. And she hears the knock on the door. She goes downstairs. She opens the door, and it's the police. So, and she's talked about this publicly. Now she's like, well, here we go again. But what does she see? She looks across the street. The juvenile defendant is parked in his car across the street. Police go over and they talk to the juvenile defendant. And then what happens next? Well, then a car comes on scene, okay, which she described as a dark colored car. And she watches as the police take the juvenile defendant over to this car and then back to his own car. And then when they come to talk to her about what's gone on, they tell her that that the father, the juvenile defendant's father, will make sure he goes straight home. And what she observes is the juvenile defendant's car, then what she called drive off fast away from that scene. And clearly the juvenile was not taken into custody that night. So now you're talking about a second swatting incident. Information's already been provided to the police. Information's been provided to the police before that, right? Which we've just talked about. And still, we don't know what the police did.
Brent, I know a frustrating part of this is because the defendant here is a juvenile, you can get no information really about who he is, who his attorney is. I also reached out to the Cranford Police Department. They referred me to the Union County Prosecutor's Office. The prosecutor's office told me they're going to have no comment on this case because it's an active and ongoing investigation.
The important part is, though, and I think what everybody wants, they want and the public want, is the information to continue to come out, because there's not a lot of information right out there. Obviously, there's the issue of juvenile confidentiality, but that's certainly one of the things we want, is to try to help get information out to start answering some of these questions that people have. So, we're not gonna stop. We're certainly not gonna stop seeking information and following the rules, but obtaining the information we need to obtain for our investigation. But it is very frustrating. It is very hard, especially with an ongoing criminal investigation, because what we also don't want, we also respect the fact that there's a criminal prosecution. Being a former prosecutor, we want that. We want justice to be served in that case as well. So that's a delicate balance to make sure that we're getting everything we need to get, but we're also making sure that the state has the fair opportunity to seek justice in the matter on the criminal side as well.
What's your hope here, Brent?
Well, my hope is that the Niotis family, as well as the Salas family, get justice here. I mean, this is as horrible experience as any individual can suffer, to watch their child die, to have to go out and watch their child take their last breath as a result of what we see as allegedly this juvenile defendant running his car over her. I hope that we have an opportunity to get down to the truth of everything that happened from the start all the way to the finish. That's what we hope.
Brent, thank you so much for joining us. This is a story I am going to stay on top of because there is a lot of accountability that has to happen here. Maria and her family did the right thing. They went to police. They were worried that this boy was harassing and stalking her, and look what happens. This is the type of thing that needs to change. And by the way, Maria wanted a restraining order against this boy. She went to the police and asked for it. But unfortunately, because she's not 18, they weren't able to do that. There's now a movement happening in New Jersey with a bunch of young people trying to get this to change, because they believe that even if you're a teenager and there is someone treating you like this and you're worried about your safety, the police should be able to step in and take care of it. So there's a lot of justice that needs to happen for Maria and Isabella's families. For more true crime stories with depth, accountability, and impact, subscribe to Us Weekly's YouTube channel or visit uncoveredwithkristenthorne.com.